Okay, so I'm loving New Zealand. Generally, the news I get out of New Zealand is just seriously awesome. So, a Christian teacher lost his job for misgendering a student. Now, at first I thought that, because he was fired, it's probably some right wing zealot, Christian zealot from the US, who came to New Zealand thinking that, he's holier than thou and can do whatever the hell he wants. Well, doesn't seem that that's the case. But let's get into the article. A New Zealand high school teacher has had his teaching registration cancelled after he refused to use the preferred pronouns and name for one of his transgendered students. Good. It has led to the Teaching Council of, I'm not going to even try to pronounce that, Aotearoa, New Zealand. I know I totally butchered that. I'm sure a lot of these names are based on Maori, because they actually respect their indigenous population. But yeah, I'm pretty sure I totally butchered that. Saying all students are entitled to feel that schools are a safe space where they are respected and valued, and teachers must not use their authority to undermine the personal identity of their learners or to inappropriately influence them. All right. And one of New Zealand's leading LGBT plus charities has also spoken out about the issue, saying it is important students' identities are respected at school. I would say people's identities should be respected, period, but considering the case, the teacher was placed on before the disciplinary tribunal. That sounds so grim. That sounds like something out of Harry Potter. Just weird. An independent body with each panel chaired by a lawyer alongside two experienced teachers in February after a complaint from a student. Oh my god, this sounds like The Hague. Oh my lord. The decision released publicly today said a 14-year-old student in the teacher's math class was in the process of transitioning from girl to boy, and a preferred male name was recorded in the school's online portal. However, the maths teacher, whose name was withheld from the tribunal's decision, when that's too bad, refused to call the student by his preferred name and pronouns. He later met with the student during a morning tea break and told him gender transition went against his Christian beliefs. And I would love to know, where the hell in the Bible does it say anything about gender? Anything at all. The student came up with a compromise, telling the teacher he could refer to him by his preferred name but continue to use she, her pronouns. I don't know. I would think that he would have an easier time the other way around, but that's assuming that he's even remotely reasonable, which you will find he is so not reasonable. He is absolutely cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. The teacher again refused, adding words to the effect of not wanting the student to go down a path of sin. Now, I'm not going to mock someone who sincerely believes that they're saving someone's soul. I understand that he probably really truly believes that he's protecting this student. The problem is that reality doesn't comport to that. So if you have such a hard time accepting that what you think is sin is not what other people consider sin, find another fucking job. I don't know if New Zealand has religious schools. I don't know if that's just a uniquely American thing, because obviously the school systems are different. So, but yeah, maybe go teach somewhere where other people are just as insane as you are? The tribunal heard that because of the man's Christian beliefs, he refused to accept the concept of gender transition as a whole and refused to call them by their preferred name or pronouns. Again, where does that say? Where does the Bible say anywhere about transitioning? Spoiler alert, it doesn't. It doesn't say shit about transitioning. And trust me, it gets crazier. When I say this man is insane, there is a reason for that, and I will get to it. But the teacher vehemently denied any misconduct when he represented himself during the hearing, explaining he felt would be a guilt. Let me try that again. This is a really badly constructed sentence. Explaining he felt would be guilty of serious misconduct and child abuse if he was to refer to the student by their chosen pronouns. How is that misconduct when you're literally following the rules? That's number one. And how the hell is it child abuse when you do the thing that the kid wants you to do? Child abuse is what you're trying to do, which is deny this person's request. If he wants you to use he, him pronouns, and he wants to go by a male name, you should be fine with that. Which, by the way, there are a lot of typical female names that if you change it into a nickname, is a male name. Like Alexandra can be Alex. Samantha can be Sam or Sammy. So right then and there, can you not call those people by their informal names? You have to say Alexandra or Samantha because otherwise it sounds like a male name. Seriously, this is just stupid. During his testimony, and this is actually brought up sort of, during his testimony, the teacher also continued to misgender the student and claimed he didn't have to use their preferred name because the student was under the age of 18. So, the tribunal, however, retorted by suggesting the teacher would have no problem referring to a Matthew as Matt if they so wished. Now, I think my example is actually better because that's still the same name. It's just shortened. Granted, so is for Alexandra and Samantha, but we go from a typical female name to one that could go either way when you shorten it. So that actually makes more sense, but to me anyway. Following this, the teacher argued that making him use differing pronouns for a student rather than those assigned at birth went against his core Christian beliefs, which he said was foundational for New Zealand. Now I'm going to go off on a really thin limb and suggest that it's about as foundational for New Zealand as it is for the United States, in that it isn't. It's just a bunch of religious freaks who just want to claim that they are somehow holier than thou and that they're perfect, and without their beliefs, society would crumble because their religion is the best thing that's ever happened to the world. And again, what core Christian beliefs? What is it? Where in the Bible does it say anything about pronouns? It doesn't. There is nothing in the Bible that says you must use the pronouns that were assigned to them at birth. Nowhere in the Bible does it say that. So, what core Christian beliefs? It's just another example of I want to be a transphobe, and I'm going to use my religion to back me up. No, no. The teacher also said anyone attempting to move away from their gender at birth needs help and deliverance. And it was wrong for schools to suggest or teach children that gender is a choice, because it is. We are not talking about biological sex. Trans people know what sex they were born as. They know that that they have certain hormones flowing through their bodies. That's why they need puberty blockers, and then when they're older, take the opposite sex hormones, because they know what sex they were born as. Nobody's confused here. The only people confused are the fucking transphobes. It's not that hard. And it's just, I just, why is it so hard? Yes, at once upon a time, gender and sex were considered the same thing. But just because, you know what else used to be considered perfectly normal? And your Bible actually condones? Slavery. But we've learned that slavery isn't a good thing anymore, so we don't do it. Now, I just do not see why you seem to be surprised that definitions change when new evidence comes to light. We now know that gender is a social construct and that it's different than biological sex. Do most people's gender and biological sex align? Yes. That does not mean that it's the same thing, though. And I'm going to sneeze. Or maybe not. Maybe I can move on. The teacher's submission also comprised what he believed was the obvious next sin about transitioning, which he claimed was homosexuality. Are you kidding me? Okay, first off, where do you get this idea that people transition so they could be homosexuals? First off, if you're claiming that transition is impossible, that this person is still a girl even though she says that she's a boy, how is her being with another boy homosexuality? It stops being homosexuality, right? So I'm not sure what that's the next sin. Being trans is not a gateway drug to shit. Plus, there are trans people who are straight. There are trans people who are gay. It's just like anybody else, because it's like sex, gender, and who you're attracted to, all are separate. Oh my God, what a light bulb moment. He also presented to the tribunal multiple examples of scripture from the Bible that read, man should only lie with a woman, and homosexuality steps away from God's plan. Okay, I've never seen that second part. That first one, I'm pretty sure, is a mistranslation. And it doesn't say man should only lie with a woman. It says man should not lie with man as he would a woman, which I've read that the translation is actually anti pedophilia, that a man should not lie with a boy. That's the correct translation. So yeah, you are not only being a massive prick because you pick and choose what's in the Bible, which you kind of have to because there's so many contradictions, but you're scholars have shown that that's a mistranslation. So it's against pedophilia. And actually, I think this comes from the story of Sodom and Gomorrah, and I read that as don't be a massive dick to strangers. I do not read that as don't be gay. Because if you read the whole thing, they offered up somebody to be raped. So, no. No, this was not what you think it is. Abortion was also mentioned during his submission to the tribunal. My God, he's throwing everything against the wall, hoping something will stick. And he argued all forms of abortion strayed away from Christian values and should be considered murder. He's using this tribunal as therapy. My God. Further submissions saw the teacher compare pronouns to a hypothetical case where a student wanted to identify as earthly royalty or a judge and wanted to be referred to using the pronoun your honor. No. No. Your gender identity is not the same as a job. My God. You are just showing, it's a combination of throwing everything against the wall to see what will stick and being fucking stupid. You do not belong in the classroom. You are actually a danger to people who actually want to learn because you're a danger to their brain cells. That is how dumb you are. Although these examples may seem absurd, they are the same logic as calling a girl a boy or a boy a girl and may lead to abuse of teachers and others. What? It is appropriate for a teacher to call a student by their pronoun, your honor. That is not a pronoun, you idiot. Or to expect teachers to refer to students as different animals, the teacher suggested. Oh, my Lord. Okay, let me read that again. Let's see. Although these examples may seem absurd, they are the same logic as calling a girl a boy or a boy a girl and may lead to abuse of teachers and others. Is it appropriate for teachers to call a student by the pronoun your honor or to expect teachers to refer to students as different animals, the teacher suggests? Okay. I can only imagine that last one is in reference to furries because, of course, this moron does not know what a furry is either. Now, your honor is not a pronoun. Learn what a fucking pronoun is. I realize you're a math teacher, but my God, go to the goddamn English department and ask them if your honor is a pronoun. They will... If they're nice, they will explain to you what a pronoun is. And at worst, they will laugh at you so hard. Because what the fuck? I should say it's not a personal pronoun. I mean, what is wrong with people? I will even do everyone a favor and type it in. Is your honor a pronoun? And I'm sure people are gonna laugh at me. Oh, look, they don't even ask it because, they ask, is it a title? Which it is. It's a title of respect, not a personal pronoun. I just do not understand. No wonder these people have only one transphobic joke because they don't even understand what the hell they're mocking. My God. His submission was rounded out by the claim he believed there were no grounds for a misconduct charge and that he was acting in the best interest of the student. No, no, no. He was, if you are insisting on not doing, the student is not asking you to cut them. They're not asking you to hurt other people. They're asking you to use their preferred pronouns and their preferred name. I fail to see how you are acting in the best interest of the student. You're not. You're acting in the best interest of yourself. Now, if you truly believe that you're acting in the best interest of the student, great. But then you obviously do not belong in this school. And if you claim that discrimination or whatever, I don't know if New Zealand has those type of laws when it comes to religion. Number one, I'm not familiar with their laws, but how is that any different than what the fuck you're trying to do to this kid? You're discriminating against them by deciding that your comfort is more important than following their wishes. So, the tribunal disagreed and said there was no hesitation that the teacher acted with serious misconduct. Good. For a trusted adult teacher to not only ignore the students' wishes and the instruction of the school, but also to isolate them and advise them it was wrong, risked quite significant harm, Deputy Chair Tim McKenzie wrote in his decision. The tribunal found the student had handled the teacher's conduct bravely, but added a student should never have to try and negotiate a compromise for a matter such as this. Exactly. It noted that it was not moving to punish the teacher for his response and position. He is entitled to his view and religious beliefs. What we must do is consider whether he has insight and rehabilitative prospects that we could address. I'm going to say no. However, the tribunal said the only answer to that was no. Well, yeah, not only was he doubling down, he was going after every culture war issue he could think of to try to protect himself. Yeah, definitely not gonna work. In our view, there is a real and appreciable risk that such conduct or similar conduct will be repeated by the teacher if he was to be in that position again. Indeed, given the teacher's statement to us, he would say that it is quite likely to occur again in similar circumstances. The tribunal also found the teacher's submissions comprised unrealistic hysteria. Ooh, that's even better than what I was saying. I like that. The arguments referencing the risk of homosexuality and abortion may well be welcome and normal within the context of the teacher's private life and views. However, they are disgraceful when used in the present context. And I have no idea where the hell those things came from. What he thinks that she wants to be a boy so she can have an abortion? How does that work? Does he think that she wants to be a boy so she could try to pick up girls and so she can be a lesbian? That isn't how any of this works. I do not understand. The homosexuality almost makes sense. The abortion thing, completely out of left field. I have no idea where that came from. Why he thought that this was realistic in any sense. The tribunal found the cancellation of the teacher's license was the only appropriate way forward and ordered him to pay costs. The teacher also resigned from his role at the school, the decision said. Well, if he lost his teacher's license, isn't that like being fired? unless this role allowed him to not have a teacher's license? I'm confused about that one. Or unless he resigned before the tribunal gave their decision. In a statement today, the Teaching Council of Aotearoa, oh God, why do I keep trying to say that? New Zealand said all students were entitled to feel that schools are a safe space where they are respected and valued. All teachers are legally bound and regularly recommit to comply with the code, which sets out the commitments to the teaching profession, learners, families, and, oh my God, what now? And society. I wish they wouldn't put Maori words here. At least give me something. I don't think all New Zealanders speak Maori. In essence, it describes how a teacher must behave. When the code is broken, it can result in disciplinary action being taken. Although the teaching council said it was unable to comment on individual cases to ensure confidentiality and natural justice, it said in a statement that it was an important public interest issue and wanted to clarify the expectations it has for teachers. Teachers need to help learners to think critically about issues and understand different views, theories, perspectives, and experiences, and it is not okay for a teacher to use their authority to undermine the personal identity of their learners or to inappropriately influence them to take a course of action. It is the teaching council's position that in this case, the teacher should have applied the code and the values of the teaching profession when asked by a student to use their preferred pronouns. The managing director of one of New Zealand's LGBT plus charities, Inside Out, has stressed how it believes it is important young people's correct pronouns are used. Inside Out managing director Tabby Besley told the Herald it shouldn't be such a big deal when students wish to be called for a name that more correctly matches their preferred gender. I mean, students use nicknames or different names all the time and we're able to adapt to that. When people get married, they change their name. We adjust to that. It's really not such a big deal. It's really about the difference that can make for a young person to have their name and pronouns respected at school. It helps it to be a safe place for them. For some young people, that may be the only safe environment they're a part of. Besley said there are several academic studies that show suicide and depression rates in transgender youth are significantly decreased when the correct pronouns are used. Unfortunately, is something that we commonly hear from young people, that teachers and other students are choosing not to respect their name and pronouns at school or putting extra difficulties in place around it, Besley said. She said not all teachers were like the math teacher in the tribunal's decision, and though there were positive changes happening in some classrooms around New Zealand. So that's the end of this article, but yeah, this teacher was basically like I said, it seemed like he was trying to throw shit against the wall, hoping something would stick after his what he thought was a reasonable argument to make. He decided to go after every culture war issue because maybe the tribunal will agree to one of them. As if if this was a religious school, okay, I still would think it's shitty, but if you're in a school that teaches based on your Christian beliefs, based on your specific beliefs, fine. Then yeah, you would have a leg to stand on. But the fact that you were throwing these against the wall under the belief that your religion somehow is greater than the public good because you think that those are synonymous, you seem to forget the one really, really big issue. Not everybody's a Christian, for one thing. So to claim that you're trying to protect others based on your religious beliefs, fine. Do that to other people who believe like you. It's still a shitty thing to do to a kid, but if you're in an environment where everybody believes like you, then this shouldn't even be a problem. This is not the case. You are in a public school system and the school has rules, and you decided that your religious beliefs were more important than those rules. So, what did you think was going to happen? Did you think if you played What a Good Christian I Am that people would reconsider how you treat people? Because, oh, you're a good Christian, so, well, students are just going to have to adjust. No. No, they want their students to feel comfortable because, like was pointed out in the article, sometimes that's the only place they can feel comfortable with their friends and with teachers that they respect and that they feel safe around, and that that who they feel like they can talk to when when home is just a hellhole. And you come along and you are proving that no, school isn't safe because there are judgmental twats like you who, now I'm insulting the guy, but that's only because, if he really truly believes that this child is going to go to hell if he doesn't intervene, fine. I get that. It must be a frightening thing for you to truly, truly believe that you're trying to save someone's soul, and it means that much to you. However, this is not the environment for that. This is a public school where they cater to all sorts of beliefs. Hell, not all Christians think like you. So it is not for you to push your beliefs onto others. If that is too hard for you, then yeah, you shouldn't have even had this job because you knew the rules. So if you're going into a school and the rules are you need to respect trans students, you think that in order to protect trans students, you have to prevent them from being outwardly trans. Well, then maybe that's not the right school for you. Maybe you should find something that fits your views better instead of trying to um, convince others that for some reason your religious beliefs are the bestest beliefs that's ever happened and that you should be allowed to make kids feel like shit because you don't feel comfortable doing what they ask, when all they're asking is use my preferred pronouns and use my preferred name. I fail to see how that is so hard and how that is child abuse or any other crap that he spewed in trying to defend himself. Because he went down a serious rabbit hole that I don't know how the hell he ended up there. Like I said, it's probably that he just wanted to show what a good Christian he is, and so just by the fact that he's such a good Christian that it would save his job because in his view Christianity is the gold standard. And so if he's in the gold standard, he can get away with anything. So basically what minorities think is true. It's not so much that Christians are being persecuted, it's just that Christians are now realizing that they can't just bully whomever the hell they want and get away with it. So, no, you're trying to show what a good little Christian you are is not going to sway anybody because this Christianity has absolutely nothing to do with this this thing at all. You personally think that this kid is going to hell because of their pronouns? Fine. But it is not your job to try and save them. Because all you're doing is making them feel like they don't want to be around you. You're not helping them in the least. Now, and especially since, science kind of operates against you. So I'm surprised he didn't get evolution into this. I'm really surprised he didn't get evolution or creation into this. He went after every other culture war issue. Why not that too? But anyway, I'm rambling. So I will end it there and I will see you in the next video.